Okay.
I'm in the middle of the stick.
So thanks for joining us, everybody. We got a podcast here. We got Lowell joining us. Where are you from? LA, Lowell?
Yeah, Los Angeles. Yeah,
you're in LA, and then of course Jeff, you're joining us from. Are you back in Ohio, or you're at your boathouse?
I'm at my lake house in Tennessee, man. It's like the nicest weekend we've had this whole year.
You know,
it's like just broke 70, so I had to head to south.
So funny. I'm up here in Canada, and I think we just broke 40 degrees.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I know. So the snow is finally melting. I can finally take the dogs out. It's nice. Enjoy the sun. So we got a special guest. Lowell's joining us. And Lowell is probably one of the, it's kind of funny how I kind of came across your video, Lowell. Like I got back into Guns N' Roses in 2007. And like a lot of people who get into anything, I went on YouTube and started searching for stuff on Guns N' Roses. And I think that's where I came across your video. And you've got the video you created, Have You Seen Axl Rose? Can you tell us a bit about, where you grew up? And like, I assume you were probably a Guns N' Roses fan growing up.
Yeah, I'm a huge Guns N' Roses fan. And I really was a huge fan when Axl kind of went into hiding.
The wilderness years, that's what I call it anyways.
Yeah, because I moved to LA in 93. And I think the Spaghetti Incident had just come out. They weren't touring anymore. I'd heard the band had split up. And then I started hearing these rumors about this new album he was working on. I think the title already had been released. It was going to be Chinese Democracy, but years were just passing by and there was like nothing was coming out. And I had met a couple people who like saw Axl out in public. And I'm like, what's he doing? Like the album's not out. He's not touring. And so I heard about two different stories about him that obviously made it into the film. And I thought, it kind of reminds me of Bigfoot because he's really famous. Some people have seen him and the stories are very captivating. They're very interesting. And so I thought, I'm a big Bigfoot fan as well. So I thought, what if I shoot something on Super 8 and kind of replicate the Patterson Bigfoot footage from 1967?
And that's what I love about your video is because, and I think even the tagline, I'm trying to remember, you said there were so many sightings of Bigfoot in the year 2000, but there's like what, 150 sightings of Bigfoot, but there's only 12 sightings of Axl Rose.
Yeah. So I thought, why not shoot something on Super 8? Because Super 8 right away looks like old grainy footage from the 60s or 70s. And I found a guy that looked a lot like Axl. I had to sort of show him how to walk, this actor, because the actor wasn't a big Guns N' Roses fan. So I kind of had to say, okay, well, this is how Axl walks. And this is how Axl dresses now. He wears these big, huge football jerseys. And so wears the bandana. I think it was around the time he started doing the braids in his hair. And so we just went out and shot it. I had I think in the beginning about 4 different stories, and then I showed the film. It was about 3.5 minutes long. I showed the film at a festival and had someone else come up to me afterwards and say, "Oh, I have a story to tell. I saw Axl driving down Sunset in an old Model T hot rod." And I went, "Okay, I got to add you to my story, or add you to my films." So we shot that. He told his story, and then we had another story after that about a guy who went and saw Guns N' Roses perform in Vegas when Guns N' Roses was just getting back together, and they had Buckethead and Robin Fink, and had the whole new lineup. And that was another story to add. So this film kind of went from being a 3.5 minute film to I think about 6.5 minutes with the additional stories.
Oh, wow. So were there a lot of stories that you heard that you didn't end up using? Or was it
No, I used them all.
You used them all?
Yeah.
So how long does a project like that take? Because it seems like you guys filmed it in different locations. You had the Axl character, and he definitely does walk like Axl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The swinging arms and
yeah.
So the first version of this film, I think we shot it in a couple weeks because I just sort of lined up all the interviews and then said, okay, I want to film some people telling the stories, and then other people I didn't want to film them telling the stories. I just wanted to do either a recreation or just show like the Bigfoot footage I did. And then the other interviews, I just sort of lined it up. It happened pretty quickly.
So with how is the film received at different film festivals when you took it to?
People love it. I mean, it was, if you know anything about Axl Rose, some people don't even know that Axl Rose went missing or like disappeared. Some people, the casual Guns N' Roses fan might not know that, but the big fans were like, oh, this is hilarious because where has Axl gone? So people laughed. It definitely got a laugh. And rumor has it that Axl has seen it.
That's what I was going to ask you next, like whether you heard from his camp that like about the film.
I have, and I'm not 100% convinced that he's seen it because I think I would have been sued by now.
You think you would have been sued by that, but I thought as a filmmaker, you can totally make it that about because he's like a public person and it's.
I mean, it is a documentary. I don't know. I'd be very curious to hear what he thinks of it. He might think it's hilarious, or he might want to kill me. I don't know.
I also love how
art, man.
Yeah, I love how you use "Out to Get Me" as well, like as the background music from Appetite. But it's funny because I've read all these stories, and somebody close to the band who I've talked to said that like back in those days, Axl would be on the internet all the time, like searching himself and like be obsessive about what everybody's saying. So I mean, it would seem natural that he would have seen it. Yeah,
I think he's seen it. I mean, if he Googles himself, if you Google Axl Rose, or even put it in YouTube, type in on YouTube, it'll show up.
Well, if you remember, like back when the reunion started, there was this story that Axl was trying to get a photo of him taken off the internet. There's this one unflattering photo from like 10 years ago or something, and he tried to get it banned. But then there's this whole thing called the Streisand effect, I guess. Eventually, he wasn't able to get it removed, and it's still floating on the internet these days. But
what picture is it?
It's a picture from Canada from like 2011. It's basically like every time they make fun of Axl Rose, they use this photo. Like it's very unflattering. It's like a very big close up.
Does he have like the handlebar mustache?
Yeah, he's got the porn stash. Yeah.
It's like he's got a white hat and gray shirt and I think a white jacket on.
I know that photo. Yeah,
it's not a great photo, but I remember like there was rumors that he was trying to get it removed. But have you seen Guns N' Roses like since you became a fan, like in '93 when you moved to LA?
So I was obsessed with that era where he had just that strange collection of musicians,
right?
Because I'm like, I want to see Guns N' Roses. This is the only version I can see, and Buckethead would come out with nunchucks and do karate moves, and it was just like, what is this? But I loved it, and I went and saw them several times. That version of the band, and then. To be honest with you, I have not seen the reunion.
Oh, you haven't seen the reunion?
No.
So for you as a fan, like, do you enjoy more of that era from like with Buckethead compared to Slash and Duff? Because there's a lot of people who do.
In a weird way, yeah. And I don't know why.
Do you think it's more because it was more of a glamorized show instead of an entourage show? Like more of just a 6-piece or 5-piece, 7-piece band rocking out with stage and blowing up shit and having like a ensemble, like not an ensemble, more of like a cast of characters than the original band?
Yeah, there was something mystical about it because Axl had just come out of hiding. He wasn't out in the press. No one was like interviewing him yet. I think he had like a short interview on the VMAs. Remember when they performed on the VMAs?
Kurt Loder gave him that interview.
Yeah, but he was just like recluse. So there was something mysterious and I'd heard some inside stories about the band would rehearse without him and then they would go on tour and he wouldn't show up at I think it was Vancouver in 2002.
He didn't. He was in the air when the band was like at the venue waiting to go on.
Yeah, I think he was home playing video games when the band hit the stage. But I could tell you a little inside story. So I got to know Robin a little bit.
Oh, Robin Fink, yeah.
Robin Fink, yeah. And Robin would tell me, Axl doesn't show up to the rehearsals. And Robin's not in the band anymore, so he won't get in trouble for this. But he would say, we would go to a city. And the band would fly there together and stay in a hotel together. They would take a bus to the venue together. And he would say, I'd play the first few notes of Welcome to the Jungle. And I don't even know if Axl's in in the house. I don't even know if Axel's even here yet. And it's not until you hear, do you know where the fuck you are? And that's when he goes, oh, okay, Axel is here. We are having a show. Those kind of stories just crack me up. It's like, there's the unknown. Is he even here? But Vancouver got there was a whole riot. And then I was at the Tacoma show the following night.
Oh, the Tacoma show that was like the first show of the tour, like where Axel showed up.
Yep. And I remember everyone asking as we're walking in, is he here? Is he here? And security's like, yeah, we think he's here.
So for that show, does he go on time or does he like?
I think he went on really late. Because with that lineup, he was just. I think now he's going on time. Right?
It's crazy, yeah. Like I've seen them twice in the reunion. Like the first show, he went on 5 minutes late because it was literally like he wasn't even. I had to side. My seats were on the side of the stage, so I could see behind the stage. Mm-hmm. And literally, Axel pulls up in like an SUV, 5 minutes late, gets out of the SUV, walks on stage, and then they start. And then I don't know what happened in LA, but he went on time. It was like perfect clockwork.
So
Cincinnati, he went on like maybe 10 minutes early, which
okay.
was surprising.
So he went on that version of the band back in the early 2000s. He would go on very, very late. And there was a venue in LA called the Gibson Amphitheater. They tore it down a couple years ago, but it's this big amphitheater. And I know for a fact that there's a curfew at this venue and bands have to be off the stage at 11:30. If they're still on stage, then I think security and all the other vendors get overtime. Yeah. And so the bands will lose money because they have to pay out all this overtime. So I went and saw Guns N' Roses 2 nights in a row there. They went on at 11:30.
Oh, nice.
And played until I think 2:00 in the morning. And I'm thinking unless the venue knew this was going to happen, I don't know. I can only imagine what the overtime was for the staff to go on at the time when every band has to get off the stage. He's getting on.
Well, it's crazy. Like, they toured on the Illusions records for 2.5 years and they didn't make any money off that tour because almost not every show, but a lot of the shows they went on late. Cause like you said, they go on at 11 and then they would play till 2 in the morning. And some countries like in Europe, they had to pay to keep the trains open because public transportation, ends at 1:00 or 12:30 and drunk people need to get home.
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, they must've like not made any money off those gigs or barely scraped by it.
Plus paying all the union workers overtime.
Oh God.
Like,
yeah. And I think the show was like on a Thursday night or Tuesday night. So, I had to leave. I'm like, I gotta be up early tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm kind of amazed now. Now he goes on time. He plays a 3.5-hour show. There's no rants. There's no walking off stage.
That's the other thing. I miss the rants.
Yeah. I miss those too.
He was pretty angry back in those days. So it was fun.
I wonder if that comes with age. Like, maybe he's mellowed out now. And like, I don't think he ranted once during the whole 2.5-year long tour. It's kind of crazy.
I'm trying to remember if anything, he may have said something in Mexico, but that's about it. Like, I mean, there's so many things they could do if they have another tour, but just don't do the same thing, please.
Yeah.
We were just discussing how the set list hasn't changed at all in the last 2.5 years. Reunion tour.
Back then he wasn't changing it either, and it was. I think every once in a while maybe he'd switch one song, but it was pretty routine.
Yeah, it's kind of just like I saw them twice on the tour within like probably 4 months. They did add a couple songs, which was nice, but they play so many covers and they have such a deep catalog that there's so many good songs that they're not playing. But I mean, I guess if you would have told me Guns N' Roses would reunite 10 years ago and that you get to go see them, and I'd be like, okay, maybe I won't care about the set list.
Right. Do you think that instead of like the Attitudes or Can't Put Your Arms Around the Memory, do you think Duff will play it out? He's got a solo album coming out that he would maybe give him a solo song to put in there instead?
Maybe like So Fine or something he'll play.
It'd be better. And I'm kind of getting tired of the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
I'm not complaining, but I am.
Are you gonna go see Duff, Jeff?
Yeah, I already got my tickets.
Oh, you already got your tickets.
June 8th.
See, that's a crappy thing about being in Canada because you don't get a lot. Sometimes you get some of the major acts, but like Duff's not coming to Canada.
Is he going to? He's playing Washington.
Yeah, but when
how far are you from Seattle?
Well, I have a kid now, so it's like not that easy. Like, but who knows if they tour this? How far am I from Seattle? Probably like a 1 hour plane ride.
Where in Canada are you?
I'm in Edmonton.
Okay.
So I mean, it's a good location because it's like 3 hours to LA, and it's at least inland, I guess. But I mean, we get a lot of the major acts. Guns came here in the summer 2 summers ago, I think, and we still get a lot of major acts. But I guess getting back to your story, Lowell, you were telling us you saw them at the Gibson Amphitheater in 2006. How did those 2006 shows compare to the 2002 shows?
They were great. I'm trying to think who left the band.
Because I think
Buckethead was gone.
Yeah, he was gone by then. It would have been Bumblefoot was probably in there.
Yep. And I'm a big Buckethead fan, so I'm gonna have to say the 2002 shows were more my thing.
So was 2006 the last time you saw the band live?
I saw them in New York at the.
Were you at the
was that the CBGB show?
No, the Hammerstein.
Oh, the Hammerstein in 2006.
I was at the 12th and the 15th show.
Okay. I'm trying to think if I've seen them since then. Unless the Gibson shows were after that. I don't remember.
I think Gibson was in like 2006, if I remember correctly.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to ask you, like, when it comes to Guns N' Roses, are you more of like the Appetite fan, like, or Illusions, or do you like Chinese Democracy better?
I use your Illusion 1 and 2. I think because I feel like a lot of those tracks aren't overplayed. I mean, I love Appetite.
Right. Yeah.
But you kind of sort of need to like take a break from those songs that you hear all the time.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So I bounce around. And Chinese Democracy, I don't really put on much.
You don't really put on much. Yeah, I don't. Those are the songs that you go to the bathroom when they come on, when they're playing live.
Go get a beer break.
Well, what was the song that was on the End of Days soundtrack?
Oh my god.
Oh my god! I wish he had put that on there, because apparently that was a demo that was put on the soundtrack, and he one time he did a rant about, I recorded this demo and they put it on the soundtrack and I wasn't done with it and blah blah blah, and I really like that song, and I got to see it in Vegas.
Yeah, because I've only played it like 4 times live or something.
Yeah, and I wish he'd put that on Chinese Democracy.
Yeah, I think a lot of people assumed he would, and I was kind of shocked that it didn't make the record.
That's the only song that has really been released associated with that album that was straightforward a rock and roll song. There wasn't any real breakdowns and like melodies. It was just A to Z rock and roll.
Yeah, it was probably like the most punk sounding thing, I guess you could say.
It was a little industrial.
It was like punk meets industrial sort of. It was like
Nine Inch Nails, like kind of era, the late 90s. Right. I don't know what you call that,
Yeah, I know I definitely know what you're talking about there. Yeah, it's definitely like, I think Robin Fink might have played on the song. It's kind of not known whether he did. He claims he didn't, but Axl said he did. But well, I wanted to ask you, I don't know, Jeff, if you had any more questions about Guns N' Roses. I was going to talk to Lowell about his like stuff he's working on now.
Do you ever maybe want to do a different version, maybe with Izzy, and see if we can't find Izzy?
That would be awesome. Yeah, I would love
to do a Where's Izzy video and possibly say I found him.
I forgot about that because Izzy came out to the New York shows.
One or two of them. There's like 5 total, and I went to like the Thursday night one and the Mother's Day one, and I had extra tickets for the Mother's Day one. Like I 1 or 2 extra tickets that I couldn't even give away. I gave away to like one of the bouncers at the door and was like, if anybody needs one, give this ticket away. It was scary. Like you couldn't do that now, but on the Mother's Day show of that run, like it was a smaller packed house because of the holiday, I would assume.
The ironic thing is that Izzy was the first member of the original lineup to come out on stage and play with Axl, and then Duff shortly after that, and then eventually Slash. So I don't know where Izzy is and why he's not part of.
So one guy we interviewed that you might get a kick out of, Lowell, is there was a guy who we interviewed. We met in LA. We were out in LA when they were playing the Staples Center about 1.5 years ago, and we were at Canner's Deli. And I was in Canner's, and Jeff was outside waiting for us. So I get outside, and he's talking to this guy who's obviously a Guns N' Roses fan, and he's got signatures from all the, I wouldn't say 5 original members, but the 5 Appetite members. on his left arm, including Izzy. So he shot a documentary with this 2 filmmakers who made a film because Izzy was the last guy who gave him a signature, because he was searching for Izzy for like a couple of years to find the guy. And he went to the right show at the right time, and Izzy showed up. I think it was in 2012 when they played Vegas. Okay. And the movie's called The Search for Izzy Stradlin. And it's just about this guy trying to find Izzy for 2 years. And they haven't released it. There's some issue with, like, I don't know, legal stuff. And I think the filmmakers are busy with other projects, but it's sitting in a vault somewhere. And there's video footage of the guy meeting Izzy in like the lobby of a hotel, getting his signature.
That's funny.
And he had a fascinating story. Like, this was probably one of the most interesting guys we've ever interviewed.
Tommy Rockstar.
Tommy Rockstar. Yeah, I love the name too, Tommy Rockstar. I think he's from New York, and he's got like a printing company. And he's got an incredible story of how he got Axl's signature, how he got Stevens, Slash's. He said he was at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because he thought Izzy would show up. And I think he got thrown out, and he was in the back alley, and like Matt Sorum walked by him and asked him if he wanted his signature. And, Matt wasn't an original member, but he got his signature anyways and like erased it later on.
Washed it off his arm.
Oh, come on. Matt Sorum gets no respect.
I know, he's a great drummer, but it's funny.
Well, does anyone know why he's not?
For the original 5 from Appetite. You're looking for the original 5 from Appetite. Like, so I would have been like, Matt, you can feel free to
I would have. You know what? I would have taken Matt's signature in a heartbeat. He's a great drummer.
I would too.
Don't get me wrong, but if you're going to ink it to your body forever,
why is Matt not in the reunion?
So he gave an interview. Yeah, apparently, like, he was never asked to begin with. He never found out about the reunion until like all of us found out, like in the press. So I think him and Axl met in 2006 during those, New York shows, and it seemed like things were good. But Axl's got his own drummer, like Frank, and maybe he just wanted Frank. He wanted his own guy.
I thought that was out in Vegas. They ran into each other.
No, it was in New York City. They ran into each other at a club. And I don't know why Matt's not, like, Gilby was supposed to come up on stage at one show and play with him, but his daughter was playing Lollapalooza, so he couldn't go. But Izzy was supposed to go on stage with him and play a little bit, but it never happened. I think it was over money. But it's a shame that Matt hasn't been brought back on stage, because Adler came on stage with them a couple times.
Really?
Yeah. He joined them in Cincinnati, where Jeff went, and then he played in Argentina one. But he only plays 1 or 2 songs. They don't let him play any more than that. So I think it's a shame. Because their current drummer, Frank, he's a nice guy. I met the guy once. He's not. I don't like his drumming, and I could say that as somebody who plays drums. Like, I don't like his style of drumming.
It's a bummer, because I feel like you could complete the whole thing if you have Matt Sorum playing drums. I feel like that's such an easy phone call to make, and Matt would totally do it. And Matt's like the nicest guy. There's no friction between Axl and Matt.
We interviewed Arlette Vericki, and she is essentially like Slash's right-hand woman, and really good friend of the family.
Yeah,
and she said that Matt made it kind of difficult during the Velvet Revolver days. Like, he wanted a certain amount of TV time in the videos where the guitar solo was going, and and like,
I used to direct music videos, and that's normal. Every band member wants to have more screen time, whether it's a guitar solo or not.
Well, I was going to ask you, Lowell, like, did you meet any of the other band members besides Robin?
Yeah, I met Dizzy.
Yeah,
nice guy.
Yeah, Dizzy was interviewed before. Jeff actually interviewed him and then deleted the entire interview accidentally.
Oops.
Yeah. That was my fuck up of the year for sure.
Yeah, so members I've met. I met Matt Sorum at Coachella. I met Dizzy, Robin.
During the Coachella they were playing?
No, he was just there hanging out.
Okay.
Backstage. And then Tommy Stinson. I met Buckethead, if you want to use the word met. Yeah,
like, how does that work when you meet Buckethead? Like, do you have a normal conversation with him? Or
no, he doesn't talk.
Was he full character, or was
yeah, he wears a mask all the time. And rumor has it, when he was driving to band rehearsals, he'd wear the mask while driving.
Nice.
Yeah. There's footage of him getting off airplanes when he's on tour, and he's wearing a mask.
Wow,
that's weird.
No one knows what he looks like. Not even the other band members.
Wow, that's crazy.
Wow.
You alluded to talking about directing music videos. Like, which bands have you worked with, like directing music videos?
A lot of LA bands, smaller indie label bands, Early Marks, the 88. My videos would get on like MTV2 or MTVU. It was never like
that's still really
TRL
good
stuff. Yeah, it was back when there were music videos.
Yeah, I don't think you can call MTV anymore.
Yeah,
well, reality show television network.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the Teen Mom reality network or something you could call it. But Lowell, like I was going to ask you, as somebody who's directed music videos, what do you think of videos like November Rain and Don't Cry and Estranged? Like, are they, as a fan and as a director, are they like just way over the top to you, or do you like that kind of stuff?
Oh, I love it. I love it. And here's the other thing: there's no video from Chinese Democracy.
That's right.
I was up in Santa Clarita.
Well, there's better, but that was like never released.
Yeah, I think they were going to shoot a video for one of the songs. I don't remember which one it was. And I was driving through Santa Clarita, and I saw these. When they're filming commercials or movies or TV shows, they have these big yellow signs. They'll have an arrow to let cast crew know where to go. And I kept seeing all these signs saying GNR. And I'm like,
oh, wow.
What's going on? This is back right before Chinese Democracy came out. So I made a phone call to a friend of mine who works in production. I go, are they shooting a Guns N' Roses video up in Santa Clarita? And she's like, yeah, I think what I've heard is they're shooting on some ranch up there. And I don't know what happened after that. I never saw any footage.
Could it possibly have been that car commercial that they lent the tune to?
No, that was in 2006. Like that was 2 years before. That's interesting. I'd never heard that story before.
Yeah, unless it was for something else. But someone said, yeah, they're doing a Guns N' Roses video. And it was
that's a shame it never saw the light of day.
Yeah, shame it was probably sitting in a vault.
My guess is someone didn't show up to the shoot. And so there's nothing to film.
That, or maybe they did film it and somebody left the band and they didn't want to play any likeness rights. I don't know.
Maybe it could be.
That would have leaked by now, I think.
That's a shame though. It hasn't seen the light of day.
Yeah, I was really hoping to see like a Madagascar video.
Yeah, right.
Real epic.
I think the closest thing you will ever see to that is when you go see the band live and then they have videos on the big screen. And like, that's probably the clip. I wonder if any of that stuff is like stuff they had originally shot for Chinese Democracy, but they just never used.
This is my 3-year-old, by the way, who wants to say hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Say hi.
Hi. I'm still like, I was telling you though, like we had a kid about almost a month ago. And so I'm really excited to like when she gets to like that age where she's like able to interact more and talk.
You have a 1-month-old?
I have a 1-month-old. She's 1 month and 2 days.
Are you getting any sleep at all right now?
Okay, this is gonna blow your mind. I haven't lost a night of sleep yet, and she sleeps really good.
You just jinxed yourself.
I told everybody so far. The dogs give me more stress than the baby does. So last night she slept all the way from 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. and she fed once and that was it.
Oh, you're so lucky.
She's been good. Like the least amount of sleep I've got with her is like 5.5 hours, and I don't sleep much. I sleep like 5.5 to 7 hours a night, and she's been really good. Like it was funny. My wife left me with the baby this morning because she had a hair appointment, and she's like, this is the first time I've ever looked after the baby myself. She's like, are you sure you can do this? I'm like, it'll be cake. So she leaves at 8, and literally the baby sleeps for 2 hours. I go feed her at 10. She sleeps for another 2 hours. And I told my wife, I'm like, this parenting thing is so easy. You make it look so hard. And she's like, she's never this good for me. She sleeps for like an hour and then she cries the rest of the morning, or she like needs attention. And I'm like, no, she slept for me and I just was able to work.
The baby whisperer, buddy.
Yeah, I know. I just told her, I said, I'm really chill. And like the baby can pick up on that.
Oh, you're lucky.
Yeah. So, but Lowell, would you say it gets easier like as they get older, or it's like kind of harder?
It gets easier, then it gets harder, then it gets easier, then it gets harder, because when they can walk on their own, you're like, great, awesome. I don't have to carry you all the time. But that's when they want to run out into a parking lot.
Right.
So it gets harder again.
Yeah, that's what I can imagine. Yeah.
I can totally jump over this car.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can totally jump over this car.
And hold that thought. I got to deal with this 3-year-old for 1 second.
Sure. Yeah, it's okay.
All right. What's up?
So what were we talking about the Dirt Chef. So yeah, I watched it last Friday. I thought it was a lot better than I thought it would be.
Boy, I watched it last Saturday.
Yeah.
And
were you a huge Motley fan?
Not at all.
Yeah, see, I'm not a huge
Motley fan. If you're not. I think it's better if you're not.
I think so too, because you know what?
You expect so many things to happen.
Yeah, I see. I wasn't too familiar with Motley's history, but the amount of people who left comments, like who were diehard Motley fans, they're like, "Oh, the car Vince was driving was different when Razzle was killed," and I was like, "I would never know that."
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Lowell, did you see the Dirt movie yet?
My wife's watching it. It doesn't do much for me. It seems very
overproduced.
Yeah.
Did you watch Bohemian Rhapsody at all?
I did.
And what did you think of it?
I'm a huge Queen fan.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I don't think he captured Freddie Mercury. He looked like him, but I don't think he captured what Freddie was really about.
Do you think they should have stuck with the Sacha Baron Cohen direction?
I don't know, because I've watched the Live Aid footage so many times, and I feel like Freddie was all about putting it out there and getting the, almost like making love to the audience, and so much confidence. And I felt this actor, was it Rami? What's his name?
Yeah, Rami Malek. Yeah.
Rami Malek. Yeah. It was more like in the eyes, he just looked like he was taking it all in. And I don't feel like Freddie Mercury was taking it all in. I think Freddie Mercury was putting it out and not going, "Oh my God, this is amazing." Freddie was more like, "You guys, I'm amazing. Enjoy the show."
Yeah.
I can't really put it into words. To me, I didn't.
There's rumors that they're going to do a sequel to it.
They're saying they're going to do a sequel, but I guess it would be about Freddie's death then, because like some of the timeline stuff was kind of jumbled and they kind of moved.
Yeah. Like I heard that he didn't know he had AIDS until after Live Aid, and then the movie they made it that he found out before Live Aid. Well,
they also made it seem like it was Freddie's fault the band fell apart, but the other band members did solo records during that time, but they never talked about that. But we were talking about the Dirt. Like, I'm not a huge Motley fan, and I know there's always this rivalry, Motley versus Guns N' Roses. Now, to me, Guns N' Roses is a much better band, but I actually enjoyed the Dirt because, in a sense, I wasn't a hardcore fan, so I didn't know all those intricacies and those stories that they kind of glossed over in the film, but I thought it was a good movie. But the wigs kind of looked ridiculous. And I love how like they don't even mention Pamela Anderson or Vince Neil's solo career. They make it seem like Vince Neil stayed in the same bar for 6 years until he reunited with Motley Crue. That's kind of a slap in the face. But he was involved with the movie, so I guess maybe he was fine.
Well, he's also a character in the movie, not to spoil it for anybody. He's also every other character does a wall break where they talk to the camera, first person. True. Yeah. And Vince doesn't.
Vince is the only one who does a wall break.
Yeah, and he was involved in the production, so I don't know. Maybe he just didn't want one, or maybe he didn't want to pick one. But
I will say Slash and Steven Adler are in the movie for like 2 seconds. There's a scene where Nikki overdoses, and then you see Slash on the couch. But the guy playing Slash looked terrible. Like it looks like a guy wearing a wig, like for a Halloween costume. And Slash wearing like baggy jeans, and it's like
which never would happen.
And every single photo I've seen of Slash from the 80s, with the exception of a couple, he doesn't wear sunglasses in those photos. And I don't think if he was partying, he'd be wearing sunglasses. And then you see Steven Adler for like half a second in the room too. But there's no mention of the Motley and GNR tour from '87, unfortunately.
Yeah, there's a lot of things they glossed over, and like, if you're not a diehard fan, I think that you will enjoy it. But if you are, you'll probably nitpick it.
You'll probably be annoyed with the amount of inaccuracies and stuff they changed around.
What do you guys think of Bohemian Rhapsody? Because that's how I felt. I'm not just a casual fan. I think most casual fans loved it, and I really am a big Queen fan, so I have my issues with it.
I love Queen, but I wouldn't say I'm like a hardcore Queen fan. But I mean, I know a little bit about the band. I enjoyed it. But yeah, there was some stuff that they definitely played around with and changed the dates of what happened. And I would have liked it if Sacha Baron Cohen had played Freddie Mercury. I think that would have been a much darker film than it was.
Yeah.
But he made it seem like, in his interviews, like with Howard Stern, he made it seem like, well, the band didn't want to make it too dark. And I think that was a bit of a disappointment. But it almost seems like we're now at the point now, like rock and roll autobiographies or biopics are now going to become popular. Like Elton John's got his coming out.
I thought that already came out.
No, it's coming out soon. The Sex Pistols are apparently getting a doc. I don't know if it's a biopic or a documentary made. It was in the news the other day. Wow. That could be interesting. And I think there's a couple more.
Well, they already did a movie with Courtney Love, like Sid Nancy.
Yeah, that's right. But I've also heard rumors, and Jeff and I talked about this. There were rumors a while back that Guns N' Roses were getting a film made, like a biopic.
Yeah,
but it wasn't through the band. Like Mark Cantor was getting his book option for a movie with James Franco. But I don't know.
The band shot it down.
Yeah, the band, of course, would never allow it. So
yeah, no.
Thus far, wait until they need Not in This Lifetime 2 money again.
Right. Yeah. So
another 20 years, maybe they'll opt for it.
Oh, I wanted to ask you, Lowell, like what are some of the other projects you worked on recently or you're working on you can talk about?
I had a TV show. I optioned the rights to a book series and turned it into a TV show, sold it to Sundance TV. It aired for 3 seasons, just got canceled last year. And now working on a couple other things, more horror related.
Okay.
I'm a big horror guy.
I am too. What's your favorite series?
Film series?
Of all the horror genres.
Okay.
Like Saw or the Freddy series or Jason, or who do you like the best?
No, I'm a big John Carpenter fan, so I would probably put Halloween as my favorite series.
That's way up there for me too.
Well, what did you think of the recent Halloween remake?
I just saw it and really liked it. It might be my second or third favorite of all Halloween films. Did you like the zombie adaptations? No comment. Those films anger me. I thought the second one was kind of brutal, but I don't think of the whole series they were the best. I think the newer one was really good. You can't even count Halloween 3, the Trick or Treat one. Yes, you can. It should have just been called Trick or Treat. I think it should have just been called Trick or Treat 2. I know. But I think the story I've heard, I love Halloween 3. Yeah. It's one of my favorites. I think originally they were going to make a series of Halloween films, and each story was going to be different. It was going to be Michael Myers was only going to be the first 2. Then they were going to do the one with the trick-or-treaters, and then they were going to do something completely different for the 4th one. And we realized how popular Michael Myers was. They brought it back for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I think Halloween 3, unfortunately, was labeled with that, given that title. It's not the film's fault. Right. But yeah, Halloween 3, I met Tommy Lee Wallace, who directed Halloween 3. I said, don't you feel like more people are appreciating that film now than they did back then? He goes, absolutely. People didn't love it back then because it didn't have Michael Myers. But then people started watching it almost like ironically. Yeah. Like, let's watch this campy Halloween movie that no one likes. And it's actually really good. It's really creepy. I mean, yeah, it's creepy, but you said yourself, people are waiting for Michael and he never shows up. Yeah. But I can't remember the trailer from that long ago, but I don't remember how they depicted it for the general audience before it was released. But I just personally was always expecting Michael to be the face of Halloween. Mm-hmm. And then you have one without him, and you're like, what the hell did I just watch? Yeah. But I love the idea of this guy having a factory that makes masks that kill children. It's pretty creepy. Yeah, right? It's good stuff. I'll have to go back and rewatch it. I've only seen that one a couple times. Maybe I'll have to go back and rewatch it. And great soundtrack too. Yeah. I'm trying to think. What about? I like the Fright Nights. I like the Graveyard Shift. Love Fright Nights. What is your opinion about all these Stephen King's being repopped, like It and Pet Sematary? Do you think they should just let them as they are, or is it okay to repop them? If they're good, why not? I loved the It remake. So far, so good. Yeah, I have not seen Pet Sematary yet, so I don't know. I think it's about to come out. Okay. Did you see the original one though? Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the remake is about to come out. I think it's maybe a late April or June release for all the kids to get out of high school and go spend their allowance on. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I loved it, and then I watched the miniseries, the original with Tim Curry. Yeah, it's pretty campy. I like the original a lot. I'll go back and revisit them.
I haven't watched the original, but I wasn't into horror for a long time until I saw It. It was the first movie that kind of opened that gate up. And
the original or the remake?
I never saw the original. I feel like I've seen clips of the original, and I'm like,
go back and watch
it looks really different than the newer one of the remake. But that and Get Out, and then the new one. I don't remember the new one. Us? Is it called? Yeah, that looks really good.
I just saw Us.
Is it good?
I heard Us you have to watch twice to get. Is that true? There's a lot of underlying like storylines or like layers to it.
I was disappointed.
Yeah,
Get Out was my favorite movie of 2017. I really had high hopes for Us. It just wasn't. People seem to love it.
You're the second person who told me they didn't like it.
Yeah, so. See now, like I feel like I don't watch as much TV as I used to, so I don't see a lot of movie trailers. I've just seen the trailer once, but I haven't read any reviews. But I know we want to go see it, and we're the types of people like if I don't get a movie, this is what I love about YouTube. I'll go on YouTube and watch a video essay about it, and then you can pick up all the intricacies and stuff that I missed the first time.
Right.
Yeah, I think maybe Us got a little too much hype, and maybe so that ruined it. Because the film is not bad. It's just I was expecting a lot more from it.
You're the second person who told me it wasn't that great, so I may save my money and wait for it to come out on HBO or something.
One thing I do like is they use the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk, which was the amusement park in Lost Boys.
Oh, that is a fantastic movie. That's one of my favorites.
Mine too.
When the grandpa uses Windex as cologne.
I know. I love Lost Boys. I love dark comedies. Those are my favorite.
Yeah.
And I think Lost Boys, Fright Night. What else? Even the new It has comedy. The kids are hilarious in that. I like when there's comedy in horror. I think it helps. And what I've learned is in a horror film, or a suspenseful film, you hold your breath for a long time. When you have comedy sprinkled in there, it allows you to exhale because you're laughing.
Yeah.
And so it's a more enjoyable experience. Agreed. It's like I'm holding this all in, then there's a joke and you let it out, you laugh, you feel better. So I really like when you can pop that tension bubble with some humor. And I think that's why I love Fright Night, Lost Boys.
What did you think about the sequel to Lost Boys? Was it worth it?
What, the Corey Feldman one?
Yeah, when he comes out, and then Corey Haim comes out at the end as a vampire, and you're like, oh man, he got turned. I think that was the last thing Corey Haim ever did before he passed.
It was straight to video, wasn't it?
Yeah. You had to be a diehard fan to go.
Yeah, to be. You want to set yourself up for it. I love Lost Boys. Sometimes I don't want to see a straight to video sequel.
Right.
Because I think it will just ruin it.
Exactly.
Well, I want to ask you, Lowell, we talked a bit about movies. What are some, are you watching a lot of the horror TV shows that are out there too? What are some of the good ones?
Good question. My favorite show, hands down, is Black Mirror.
I don't know if you know.
I feel like I think it's on Netflix, right? Or maybe they just put it. I don't know if it's a Netflix original, but I've seen it on my Netflix, anyways. But I haven't watched it.
Yeah, it's like a modern day Twilight Zone. It's very dark, very progressive, and I'm curious to see how the new Twilight Zone series will be, because I don't know if it's going to be it's going to be on CBS, so I don't know if it's going to be very mainstream and very broad. But check out a couple episodes of Black Mirror.
I will.
Yeah, well, because we're at the point now where we're trying to watch as much some of the newer TV shows, because I can only watch The Office so many times on Netflix. So I'll have to check that out. But I don't know, Jeff, if you have any more questions.
No, I think we've asked them all, man. I think the video that you did was great. I mean, I've watched it a few times. I think there's even a little bit a tiny amount of humor in that too, which kind of gives you the edge to keep watching. And all the stories that are told on it are perfect. My recommendation would be go find Izzy and see if you can't maybe do a part 2.
Oh yeah, I would love that. That would be great. all the Izzy stories, because I read on the forums there are some people who ran into Izzy, and people have some interesting stories about Izzy. Like there's a thread called The Wacky World of Izzy Stradlin. Like some people thinks he picks avocados and stuff, and he grows them on his farm, and it's he lives in an interesting part of California.
Oh, he's in California?
He's in Ojai. I've never been out to
Ojai. Yeah, that's just north of here.
But we have a friend who went to Ojai, and she said she told us in an interesting place. Like it's a very sleepy town. There's not a lot of bars there, but it's like a super healthy kind of, super healthy people live out there.
Yeah, it's a little like wine country.
Yeah.
It's an easy drive from LA. It's I think maybe an hour to get there.
Yeah, I would love to go check it out just to see what it's like.
It's quiet. If you like wine.
Well, it reminds me too of what you told us a story that people have like these stories of Axel, and we have a friend who lives in LA, and he said like it's kind of funny. Everybody in LA kind of has a story. Like he went to a restaurant, the waitress just happened to know she was friends with the manager of Guns N' Roses, and then she had some interesting Axel stories. And then the girl that we are friends with, she might have came across Izzy. She came across some guy riding his motorcycle, and then she went to a restaurant in Ojai, and the waitress. She saw the photo of Izzy that the girl had, and she's like, "Oh, I know that guy. He comes to this restaurant every so often."
Is there a new Guns N' Roses album coming out?
That's the $1 million question. Crossing our fingers. They toured for 2.5 years. Every interview they've been doing, they've been asked that question. And there's rumors that Guns may be playing a show in Kentucky, like the Louder Than Life Festival, I think it's called, or Larger Than Life. So I think maybe that's going to be the catalyst to hopefully get them in the studio, because Slash is going to be done touring in August. And Duff's got a solo record coming out. So I think if they are going to work on a record, we'll probably hear about it early next year.
So the old lineup, the original lineup, has not recorded a new song since they got back together for the tour.
Well, there was a B-side called Shadow of Your Love.
Yeah.
They claim they just remastered it, but the drums sound different and the guitar solo sounds a little much more polished. Yeah,
so they re-released Appetite on its 31st anniversary for some reason. So they released a single. It's like they said it's our new single, but it's Shadow of Your Love, which is from like 1985 or 1986.
Okay.
An old song. They remastered it. They claim it's the old original recording, but it sounds like they re-recorded it. But they have not released anything new. They have played some new covers that they never played before, like Wichita Lineman by Glenn Campbell. They've performed live. The Seeker by The Who. Black Hole Sun. They've been playing live at every show. Like
really,
Chris Cornell. There's some. I'm trying to remember what other songs do they play, because they do a lot of covers. They do. I think that's basically it. If I'm not mistaken. Oh, they also do a whole lot of Rosie, but they used to cover that back in the old days. But apparently the rumors are that any new material will be leftover songs from Chinese Democracy.
And apparently he's got hundreds of them.
Yeah, they said there's like 3 albums worth of stuff. So that's what the new album could sound like. But that's just all speculation. There's nothing confirmed about that.
Yeah, probably won't be. It'll probably just be on a shelf one day, in my opinion, and we'll be like, oh, there it is. Because they don't do any press. So
they don't do any press because they don't really need to. They sold out like how many stadiums around the world, and the press twists what they say, and that's why they had Get in the Ring, right?
Yeah. So eventually, maybe one day it'll just show up on the shelf, and we'll be like, oh my gosh, there it is.
Because even when the Appetite reissue came out, they didn't do any press for it. It wasn't until months later that they actually started talking about it.
I wonder if it'll just, what was the U2 album that came out if you bought like an iPhone or iPod? It was already on there.
I remember what it's called now. Yeah, it was like on everyone's iPod.
Yeah, so maybe they'll do that, make that kind of deal. It's like you'll get your new iPod or iPhone. It's
I actually signed into I don't usually use my iTunes, but I signed into it, and that damn album was still in it, and I've
had to delete that whole album off my phone. There's some good songs, but I'm not a huge U2 fan.
I think people were so angry that music was shoved down their throats without even asking. It's like, hey, this album's now on your.
I wonder if Guns N' Roses did that. Would as many people get angry?
I don't think they'd be. I think they're too smart to do that. There's money to be made, and there's no way they'd just put out a quote unquote free album.
And you know what? I think people would actually maybe not mind it. I mean, see how many kids you see wearing U2 shirts compared to the number of hipsters and young kids you see wearing GNR shirts. Now, granted, a lot of those young kids don't know what Guns N' Roses is, but
right?
Maybe they'll learn about it.
Oh, I saw a guy outside a club in Hollywood. He was wearing an Appetite for Destruction T-shirt, and I was fucking with him. I'm like, name 3 songs on that album. He's like, leave me alone. I'm like, name 3. Come on.
I did that in a parking lot once to a girl. She was wearing like this tattered up like H&M Guns N' Roses shirt. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what's your favorite song? And she's like, I like them all. And I literally called her a poser in front of all of her friends, started laughing at her.
Yeah, you know what? It was so funny. I was walking through the mall the other day and I saw a girl wearing, I think it was an Appetite shirt. Or it was maybe just a regular Guns N' Roses shirt. But she did not know it was a Metallica shirt. And I'm like, there is no way this girl's a Metallica fan. And I saw another girl wearing an Iron Maiden shirt. And I'm like, this girl does not look like the kind of girl who listens to Iron Maiden. But I think it's the duty of every GNR fan to go ask a person wearing a GNR shirt whether it's like they know any songs off Appetite.
And this guy did not look like a fan. I would have left him alone if he looked like a legit fan. But I had to.
You know what? I had something funny happen to me at work this week. So I have those Funko Pops of Axl, Slash, and Duff on my cubicle at work, and it's kind of a good conversation starter because usually people will be like, "Hey, you know, this is Axl, this is Slash." So this guy who I've never talked to comes to my office. He's like probably in his 50s. He's a nice guy, and he's like, "Oh, this is Axl, this is Slash," and usually people don't know who Duff is if they're like not a hardcore fan. But he knew who Duff was, and he's like, "Oh, where's Izzy and Steven?" And we had this whole conversation, and he actually had Live Like a Suicide. He had one of the original 10,000 copies.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Did you offer to buy it from him?
Well, he came to work the next day, and he showed me his framed Live Like a Suicide album, which was on his wall. And then he told me he went to the Skin and Bones tour back in '93, and I think he saw the band open for Iron Maiden.
Wow.
But and we talked, he knew a lot about Guns N' Roses, which was kind of...
You got a new watercolor friend, buddy.
Yeah, I know. And then we were talking about The Dirt, like about he watched the movie as well, and he was a big Motley fan, but he's a huge Kiss fan as well. So he's talking about...
he's going to invite you out for beers on a Friday after work.
Well, he told me about all the Kiss merchandise like he bought and how he met Gene Simmons at one of the comic...
$20,000 for it?
Did you guys hear about the Rolling Stones meet and greet packages? $35,000 meet and greet?
$35,000, is that it?
That was what Eddie Trunk was talking about. So you can go hang out with the band for $35,000.
See, I know a guy who just went and saw Kiss, and he has video of, who is it?
Paul Stanley?
Paul Stanley playing this guitar, and then the guy that I know got the guitar after the show.
Wow.
So is that a package that you can buy a guitar that's being played on the stage?
Well, knowing Kiss, you probably can, yeah.
That's why I have no idea how much he paid for it, but there's a picture.
Wow.
Yeah, the guy was playing. Yeah, Paul Stanley was playing the guitar on stage, and then my friend got it after the show and got it signed and got photo up and everything. And I'm like, I can't imagine how much just the guitar
he either
alone.
paid a lot, or he was a very lucky guy.
I think it's part of a package.
Well,
wow.
The crazy thing about the Stones package is that band members don't feel like meeting you, then you have to, they can reschedule it. It's your job to find a way to make it to that city.
Sorry, you broke up a little. What?
Oh, I'll just wait till he's back. I'll just edit this part out.
Hello?
Yeah. So I was saying that the funny thing about the Stones package is if Mick and Keith don't want to meet you that day, then they can just reschedule it, and then it's up to you to make the travel arrangements and pay for it to go meet them in the next city if they want.
Oh no,
that is the worst thing ever.
Well, they can't see you today. Can you make it to New Jersey tomorrow?
The worst part is you also get tickets, but they don't tell you where your seats are. Like they're not gold seats technically; they could be anywhere in the stadium. So you can pay $35,000 to meet the band, but then you may have horrible seats to go see them play live.
Well, you probably get a backstage pass, which means I wouldn't leave from the side of the stage.
You know what? I almost wonder, like, people say it's outrageous, $35,000, but to the people who can afford it, $35,000 is probably a drop in the bucket.
Yeah.
Like, right. I would, even if I had the money, I still would never pay that much to see the Stones.
Is that per person or per couple?
Per person, I think.
Fuck that.
Yeah.
Keith Richards better serve me dinner and kiss my ass for that kind of money, man. That's expensive. That's disgustingly expensive.
That might become a trend, though. If Kiss is doing it and the Rolling Stones are doing it, who's next?
Yeah, but they're on that echelon where they can. I mean, Guns will get there. I mean, they're almost pretty much there. I mean, it's not like Page and Planner's doing the meet and greet. That would be like just as much, I guess. Mm-hmm. Or touring, so it would be better if they would just tour. Maybe they could get their shit together with John Paul Jones. And
you know what? Guns N' Roses VIP packages were ridiculous. They were charging $2,500 for a backstage pass, and you don't even get to meet the band members.
Yeah, they usher you in. They usher you in and off the stage to take pictures really quickly. So.
Yeah, there's no band meetings, none of that stuff. and you get like your own food area and stuff. But 2,500, I mean, you don't even get to meet the band members. That's kind of crazy.
You get to meet the roadie.
You get the roadie. I met the roadie for free. I ran into him at the hotel they were staying at, so I just took a photo with him. I didn't have to pay him anything, and he gave me free Duff picks, so I can't complain.
Oh, nice.
Thanks, McBob. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. So thanks. I think that's pretty much everything I had. I don't know, Lowell, if you had anything else.
Hey, your dog.
Yeah, he's been good up until this point.
I saw your dog come down the stairs. It was cute. Yeah. So I think that's it. That's all I got. Maybe I'll do that Izzy Stradlin documentary.
I think it'd be a great one. I think it'd be a part 2 would be great. Where's Izzy? I'll go find him.
I'll drive up to Ojai.
Yeah, I mean it's not that far.
No, it's like
an hour drive though in LA is like what, 3?
No, from here to Ojai it's like an hour and a half.
Do you have a lot of traffic heading that way though?
No, so I'm in Malibu, so I just go up PCH.
Oh, okay. And you're not far from Axel then.
No, I know exactly where his house is.
Have you ever went up to Axel's house? We were about to go do it when we went to LA, but Kevin's like, it's a really far drive from where he lives.
Where are you? Or I'm sorry, where is he?
Well, he's in just outside LA. I think he's like in maybe I should
the area where Michael Anthony lives.
He's in Orange County, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Latigo Canyon.
Was a lot of that area destroyed in those fires?
Not the last fire, but a few years ago, his property burned a little bit.
Oh, it's terrible.
Like I don't know, like 8 years ago. But his house is still there. It's fine. It's the house that's in the Estranged video.
Right. Yeah. Actually, you want to hear something funny? There's this guy on YouTube. I came across this video. He goes to famous LA landmarks. So he went to the apartment building that Axl Rose used to live in. You know, remember the one he got evicted from? Like the MTV did that contest, like evict Axl Rose. It's the same apartment where he got into a fight with his next door neighbor, and then he wrote Right Next Door to Hell. So he has a friend who lives in the building. So he took a tour of where Axl used to live. It was pretty fascinating.
There's a company called the Dearly Departed Tours, and they do like crime scenes, and I think they do like a Helter Skelter tour. They do a Black Dahlia tour, and they now have a new tour which like the old 80s rock. And I think you can see like the old apartment that Guns N' Roses lived in, and you drive by the whiskey and.
Oh, that sounds awesome! I would love to do that if we went back to LA.
Yeah, I want to do it too. It's all those LA hair bands,
in
the 80s, and I think they drive you around and show you. You know, I'm sure they go by Cantors as well.
Wow, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah,
that'd be a lot better than like here's Fabio's house, like on the TMZ tour.
Well, I did one of their tours, and one of the first stops is the public restroom that George Michaels was caught in.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they're like, we're gonna take a bathroom break right now, and this is the public restroom that George Michaels was caught. He was picking up on an undercover cop. He was propositioning an undercover cop. Remember that? Back in the 80s, I think.
Yeah. That was a Noops moment. I guess he kind of like that was his better come out of the closet now before all the rumors start. But yeah, I mean, no matter which way you bat, man, he's a great musician. Too bad we lost him on Christmas Day.
Yeah, it's like
kind of like, yeah, Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yeah, he was an amazing singer.
Yeah, huge influence to Axl too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, bummer. All right. On that bummer note.
All right. Well, I appreciate you joining us, Lowell. I highly recommend maybe doing the part 2. Where's Izzy? That would be me, you know. And then you can maybe do a part 3. Where's everybody else who's left the band? What are they doing now?
Track down every single member. Anyone who's ever played on a Guns N' Roses album.
Right. Well, that was the thing. I think that before Axl's demise, I was thinking that maybe should do a We Are the World kind of thing and have every member that he's ever had in the band play on that song. Yeah, play on one song together.
I like that idea.
I think that would be great. Right before his demise, we'll have like the We Are the World.
We Are the Guns N' Roses.
Yep. maybe we'll get that out of it. Maybe that'll be the new single before everything's over with. If we don't get a new album anytime soon.
You'd have like 30 guitarists on stage.
Exactly. I think it'd be an epic.
12 drummers.
Yeah, right. 3. How many drummers would we pick from? We'd have Brain, Steven, Frank, and Matt.
Josh Freese.
Josh Freese, yeah.
Gosh. He played on Chinese, I think.
I'm trying to think if there's any other drummer. That would be 5 drummers.
There's Rob Gardner.
Oh yeah, that's 6 drummers. That would be amazing. Well, they have to do it something like maybe like Metallica did with Anthrax and Slayer and Megadeth when they did Am I Evil and everybody took a part, but the drummers all got like a snare. Because that would be like too many drums on stage. How would you fit them? You'd have to play like LA Coliseum and like have them all playing like in the risers behind the stage. There'd be so many drummers. But yeah, I think that'd be a great idea. Do you have anything else, Sid?
I know that's basically it. I just want to thank Lowell for coming over.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me.
Thanks for dropping by, man.
Yeah, thank you.
It was, and thanks for making that documentary, man. I found it very entertaining.
Awesome. Yeah, and if you want to tell people, it's on YouTube. It's the best way to see it.
Yeah. Well, we'll put the video in the description when we upload this video.
Okay.
Everybody will be able to click it and be able to check it out.
Right
yeah. Anything else, Sid?
No, that's it. Thanks for joining us, guys. We'll see you again.
All right, man. Rock on guns. We'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us.